In other news, there are calls within New Zealand to label Australia as a rogue nation.
Like in Star Wars?
Like in
pretty much.
What the hell does a rogue nation mean?
Well, it basically means
We
that
are a rogue nation.
Well, that's but not for the reasons that you might be thinking of.
What the hell are you talking about?
Well, you know how recently, I think it may have been Peter Dutton who deported a 15-year-old back to New Zealand, and we've been constantly deporting. We have this thing called a character test, and any permanent resident that might have been living here for, 15 years, 20 years, if they fail a character test, which could mean any kind of criminal history, you're sent back to New Zealand.
Just New Zealand? Just Kiwis?
Well, yeah, a lot of Kiwis live here, so I think it impacts. But they could technically do that with anyone. It doesn't get into news. New Zealand has since the population of Kiwis in Australia is large enough, it gets into the news more often. But Jacinda Ardern is not a fan of this policy. And recently they deported a 15-year-old, which by most international laws is completely illegal and against human rights. You cannot deport minors into a place that they might not have any experience over, might not have any family, blah, 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 shit like that. And so New Zealand is like, Australia is a bad player in terms of climate change. Australia is clearly violating human rights. And not just in this case, like all the offshore detention center, Manus Island, Papua New, all of that stuff. Basically, Australia, they're saying, let's admit it. They're not a good international player right now. And we need to make that clear in the international community that they are, according to them, we are a rogue nation now.
What is the definition of a rogue nation?
Well, a nation that is not working towards solidarity with other nations, but is a nation that is working towards
Is America
anarchy.
a rogue nation?
Well, it's a matter of opinion.
Was under
right,
Trump,
really.
definitely.
Right, yeah.
The thing is, Australia won't be a rogue, would not. But if North Korea is a known rogue nation,
Right.
what that means is they have sanctions on them, so they can't sell their stuff. It's actually really, really bad for a country to be considered a rogue nation because basically it means that you're not going to be able to earn a lot of money because of it. But
really? Whether you're
Yeah,
excluded
because
from trade or something.
yeah, you can be excluded. Preconditions of free trade agreements are
China-
often that you're not.
Is China a rogue nation?
Well, look, unless your country
Rogue planet.
is super insignificant, you're not really a rogue nation because China, they're trying to make China into a rogue nation now, but China is too big to be actually considered a rogue nation. Because you need to have like the international community all together towards considering this one. Iran is considered a rogue nation, so you really need to be isolated before it happens.
Do you think that having that law to just extradite people on character is would reduce crime?
Well,
Probably not.
it remains to be seen, really.
It's sort
still
of like
I think like in about 4 or 5 years, we're going to have like more data on how, because if you think about it, this entire policy of, haphazard deportations has only begun since 2013, 2014. And initially it was very focused on all of the boat people and we've only very recently just tried to, what we're doing is basically we're exporting our problem. So if we see a New Zealand person, Kiwi, commit some crime, we're hoping for...
I didn't know Kiwis could commit crimes.
You kidding?
They're so such chill people. They seem to be the...
Dude, what are the two Maori gangs called again?
Oh, true. The Maori... Yep.
What are they called?
But to be fair,
dude,
it's not the Maoris that are really getting deported. It's mostly...
No, but this is just a side point about New
You're
Zealand.
talking about like the Mount Druid gang or something? That the rap group?
Well, 1-4.
Yeah.
1-4.
Yeah, new entrants. No, I can't remember what they're called.
Christ.
Muckamed. No, that's Chris Lilly. I can't remember.
I don't.
But the thing is, I was talking to a lawyer here whose dad is a prominent judge in New Zealand. And she was saying that the legal system in New Zealand is so overwhelmed by these two factions of bikies that are fighting each other.
In New Zealand?
That he was saying that
Or in Australia?
the job in New Zealand,
Right.
the job of the legal system in New Zealand is to act as referees between these two. So they kind of have to make sure that they're getting like an even amount of quotas. Otherwise, they'll come in and be like, "Oh, what? So you're arresting all of these mucker mad boys, but you're not arresting any of these bra boys or whatever they are." So they just go like, "Yeah, you're right, Cooney. You're going to jail as well.
What?
Right, everything's fair now."
Are you kidding?
Because they don't want them coming together ever. Because if they did, the New Zealand military would be overridden.
The old playbook, divide and rule.
Dude, that
It's actually-
is pretty badass. That's Mad Max. I'm kind of
No, it's not Mad Max. It's Warriors. It's the movie The Warriors.
Warriors.
But having said that, there is.
out to play.
You guys want Miss Love back? He's back. He's right here.
It is purest form. This is like when Beast Wars came back.
Sorry, God.
No, I just want to
Great
add
film.
that there is no evidence to suggest that people in New Zealand commit more crimes than Australia. I just want to put that out.
War crimes.
Not war crimes, more crimes
Oh,
than Australia.
sorry.
So the fact
Really?
that we are, I don't.
There must be some evidence that one of us is committing more crimes.
Well, there were bikie gangs in Australia. There are bikie gangs in Australia too.
Bikie
and they
gangs?
no,
can
but
be
I'm
really
just
rough.
wondering statistically per capita
I have no
who's
idea.
committing more
Well,
crimes.
I'll be Jamie, and why don't
Do
you
it. Look
Miss
that
Love,
shit
make
up.
some sounds, and I'll quickly look this up.
No, you do the bottles. Or do you
I'm
wanna do
basing
the-
this purely off of nothing. The fact that all I know about New Zealand is that your Prime Minister's teeth are too big for her head.
In the meantime,
Pantera,
give me your
Pantera.
impersonation of that character. I'll do the bottles.
Warriors, come out to play. I'm a bad little boy.
Yo, Cyrus has got some stuff down. We can't be packing. No bopping when we get to Manhattan.
You know, the only takeaway that I have is about everything. It's pretty much the same as New Zealand. It is the Warriors, because the thing that I was most enraptured by in that film was, fuck, they all have bad teeth.
What, in the Warriors?
I think just in the 70s, it must have been before they started putting fluoride in the water, and I thought, Alex Jones, is this the world that you want?
Well, it
All these
probably-
ratty little nubs.
Probably wasn't fluoride. It was probably that like flossing wasn't a cultural phenomenon. You know what I mean?
Flossing's not a cultural phenomenon with me. It really should be, though.
All right, we've got some results over here. It turns out that in terms of gun crime, New Zealand is much higher, but
Suck D.
murder rates are much higher in Australia. So that means, I guess, more
do it with
people
their own
are actually getting killed over here. Rapes are
Yeah, but is this
are
per
more
capita
prominent
or
in
not?
all per capita.
Uh-huh.
So we're worse when it comes to rape. But there are more gun crimes over there. But I'm guessing that's because they just their gun laws have recently changed, whereas ours were changed much
Look,
before
it's
that.
just in direct relation to...
It's comparable either way, is what I'm saying. So
Yeah, but
there's
it's
no particular
comparable
reason.
into what the government has done about it.
Here.
Don't you reckon? So it's such a good counter argument to I don't know,
America.
like libertarianism. Because if there's libertarianism, gun crime goes up, as does rape and murders. But if you invest in police instead of defunding them,
And you hated Howard. It's the one thing where everyone's like,
gun
he
law,
banned the guns. This guy. Look,
yeah.
did you know he banned the, come here, he banned the guns, mate?
I'm aware.
No, listen, mate. No.
You haven't heard
Yeah,
the whole
you
story.
just come closer. Look, the thing
Hey, as a
about Howard
Muslim,
is,
I'm not a fan of that. I
And
would
look-
need guns any moment. You never know.
Look, no one in this podcast is a fan. We're just saying what his record is.
I'm just telling you that, Howard wasn't all bad. Okay?
Clearly.
No. Hello.
I would really like to live in a country where when our cricket team wins, you go outside and everyone's shooting AKs in the air.
Is that what happens in Pakistan?
Yeah.
Yes. And people
Every
die
fucking
because the
time.
bullets just
Fall
someone will
down.
come down being like, what a beautiful day in Karachi. No!
Smoke as thick as the eye can see. Jesus.
I wish that was
That
like
happens.
a joke.
It's not
That's
really not a joke.
brutal, dude.
I'm proud for everyone proud.